Welcome, everybody. This is the Agnihotra Lady, and welcome to this episode of the Agnihotra Lady. And today we do have special guests. We have Liz, who is a nurse and caregiver, an Agnihotra practitioner, and we have your fiance Joe, who is a gardener extraordinaire, and he's also an Agnihotra practitioner. And so every week I'm doing a Zoom question and talk session, so everyone can call in. You can message in, even if you don't want to show your face. You can just log in and you can ask me questions face to face. I think it's a little bit more personal this way, because sometimes people, when they watch the Facebook Live that me and Sri Charles were doing, they weren't necessarily able to ask questions where they felt shy. So I'm doing this every week, and the topics are going to range from whatever's on your mind, whatever questions you have, whether it's about Agnihotra, Ayurveda, or just living day-to-day life. I want everyone to know that there's no reason for you to be scared and be fearful with all the things that are happening, because there's a way to get through all of this with peace and tranquility and lots of love in your heart. There's something to be scared about. So before people start joining in, I'm going to go ahead and just start off with a beginning fire here to kind of set the tone and get the meeting started. And so this is called the Swaha mantra, which we do throughout the day. And we do this specifically before we start any kind of talk or meeting, just for blessings for having a really good meeting. Swaha, Agnihotra namama Swaha, Ayurveda namama Swaha, Surya namama Swaha, Prajapatiye namama. So that's the Swaha mantra. We actually say this mantra before we do our full moon mantra, the Chambhakai. So sometimes you may see me on Facebook live where I'm doing Agnihotra, doing full moon. That's the mantra that we begin all the full moon mantra with. And so for those that are not familiar with Agnihotra, let me just go ahead and tell you a little bit about Agnihotra before we jump in with talking with Liz and Joe. So Agnihotra is an Ayurvedic practice. It's an ancient practice that is wonderful. It is something that deals with the ethers and electricities and the energies that are out in the atmosphere extending to the universe. And you do it at sunrise and also at sunset. And there's something beautiful that happens at those times. At sunrise, there's a flood of energy, like I said, those ethers and electricities that are rejoicing when you do Agnihotra, because you're purifying the atmosphere and you're purifying all the animal life, plants, and everything that are on Earth. So when you do Agnihotra, there's this rejoicing because of that flood of energy. And at sunset, when that flood of energy recedes, we do the mantras at sunset, and it helps to reset the planetary cycle. And this is a way for you to cleanse the air. It goes 8 miles up, 2-mile radius. So this is something that can benefit your home and your entire neighborhood and your community. It cleanses the soil. So if you use the resultant ash from Agnihotra, is very good for the soil, and the worms are dancing around and doing the running man or whatever dance they do. They do all of that. They're happy when you do that. The flowers bloom, the animals are jumping around and dancing too. Like I said, it's good for the air, the water, the soil. And I think Liz and Joe, that we put a little bit of ash inside of a glass jug filled with water, and we let that sit in the sun for 3 days, and it purifies the water, so you don't have to buy any more bottled water. So the ingredients that we use are dried cow dung, which, by the way, does not smell. We use ghee, which is nothing but unsalted butter that is that we boil. And then we use brown rice. You can use any type of brown rice. You can use basmati or long grain brown rice. Can you see that? And we use the brown. I just buy organic, so that way if I want to eat some for dinner, I can do that. Or I like to use organic anyway when I'm doing the Agnihotra. And so, and then when we say Agnihotra, we use Sanskrit mantras. And that was Sanskrit, which I was saying there for that mantra. And the reason why we say use Sanskrit terms, because these are very high vibrational um, uh, words. And Sanskrit is the only language where you won't, all other languages come from it. It doesn't come from anything else. So it's a very ancient language, and it's high vibrational. And with the high vibrational, it brings up your vibration. And of course, when you're doing this purification, this Agnihotra ceremony, is something that helps with the purification process. So it's wonderful. And so I'll just say the mantras real quick. The sunrise are Suyaya Swaha, Suyaya Idam Namama, Prajapatiye Swaha, Prajapatiye Idam Namama. And every time you hear Swaha, that's when you get the rice, the little bit of ghee on there, and you dip it in there every time you say Swaha. So for evening, you would say Agniye Swaha, Agniye Idam Namama, Prajapatiye Swaha, Prajapatiye Idam Namama. So I know it sounds like, oh, it's hard to pronounce. I know some people may be saying that, but it's always in your heart, your intention. And so your intention is strong. Don't worry about pronunciation. It will come second. And people from all over the world speaking various languages, they all speak the Sanskrit because it's high vibrational, and we call it DNA therapy, because anything, for those of you that know about sound therapy and things like that, sound is very healing, very high vibration. So when you're saying this, and you can say it over and over again, even without doing the fire, it's such a medicinal effect. It's such a peaceful, tranquil effect on your mind. Your body is very healing, spiritually, mentally, physically. And Agnihotra, in addition to healing the planet, the animals, the insects, all these things, it heals you as well, because you are connected to the planet. So if the planet is thriving, then so you too are thriving. And so these talks are really about what you can do to live beautifully day to day, no matter what's happening. It could be chaos outside your door. So-and-so is fighting down the street, but you don't have to have chaos here. And Agnihotra is a wonderful tool for you to do that. And I think it's really important because, like we talked about on last week's episode, there's so much stuff happening, and a lot of people are still moving around and not staying still. So Agnihotra has a way to let you be still and listen. We're so busy moving around that we forget to sit still. And it's when you sit still and your brain slows down, everything slows down, all those thoughts, those chaotic thoughts, that just melt away. Okay, and that is where the real healing starts. And so this week we're talking about not only how Liz has used Agnihotra just for her own practice and how it's kept her healthy, and Joe's going to talk about gardening and his other experiences with Agnihotra. But we're talking about, and the topic just overall are your words, your thoughts, and your actions. And all these things really equal to truth. It all starts with your words, what you say, okay, what you think. And then those things eventually lead to what you do, your actions. And in any of the text you read, in any of the ancient texts, whether it be from whatever religion you practice, even if you don't practice religion, these three things equal to truth. And if you walk in truth and you live the truth, then guess what? That's where the peace and love and tranquility come from. And so that's what we're going to talk about. How do you stay in the truth every single day, no matter what's happening to you? And I really think it's so important, because there's so many young people that are talking about committing suicide because they feel like it's hopeless. They're graduating from high school and they don't know about the job market. They can't even walk down the aisle, to graduate from school. And a lot of them have been saying to me and Sri Charles and the family, what can they do? They feel hopeless. And so Agnihotra is a way for you to address these thoughts of depression for those that have PTSD and other mood disorders. This is something that can help. And a lot of people that have been suffering from these various mood disorders and depression and all these things have said that it really does calm them down. Last week we had a young lady, Sri Charles's daughter, was saying that, you know, she cured her COVID-19, her asthma, and her diabetes with Agnihotra, and she says that she said the bipolar improved. I didn't even know that, and you know, I know her, but she said all this, and she said Agnihotra did it for her. So I'm going to jump right on in then and introduce again the wonderful tag team. Tag team, that's right. These are my favorite people. They're my neighbors. They live in Conyers, and they're just wonderful, helpful, sweet, loving people. We got Liz and we have Joe. And Liz is, like I said, is a nurse. And how long have you all been doing Agnihotra?
For about maybe a year and a half. The
Oh,
time flies.
Okay, seems like it's been a little longer. Okay.
It's almost 2 years. 2 years. Yeah.
2 years. Okay, I thought it was more like 2 years. So we're gonna, and you all can kind of jump in and talk, you know, together if you want. But I'm because I want to everybody hear your point of view. So we're gonna start with Liz. So you all been doing it for 2 years, and just tell me how Agnihotra has changed anything, if anything, with your life, and how do you apply it for your day-to-day living?
Well, to start with, I used to be all over the place, just mind racing, ups, downs. I too suffer from depression, bipolar depression actually. And after being on several different medications, it was, I don't know how to even put it into words, how grateful I am to have found the Agnihotra practice. I have had tremendous success in decreasing medication, and not just for my mental health, but for high blood pressure that's come down, because Agnihotra it almost zone out when I do Agnihotra. It's so calming and, like I said, very grounding for me. I always wonder why we don't embrace more holistic practices in traditional American medicine. And I say traditional American medicine because traditional medicine in other parts of the world, they use these type of practices. And like I said, for myself, it was just a wonderful discovery that I can't even put into words how grateful I am to have come across the Agnihotra lady. Yeah, and it's not just the Agnihotra in itself, it is the conduit through which I found it, which is through D. And just when I go over to Shanti Villa, Atlanta, I just feel a immediate sense of calm and peace. And I don't get that doing anything else other than Agnihotra. I've tried meditation, I've tried journaling, I've tried everything, and nothing calms my mind. I even fall asleep sometimes while I'm doing Agnihotra. It does. It's amazing. I can't tout it enough. It's
oh wow,
part of my daily practice as much as I can get it in, actually.
Oh, that is wonderful. So for everybody that is tuning in or watching the replay, see, I had no idea Liz was going to talk about this. Some of these things she told me about privately. But I let people share whatever they want to share, because I don't like to, you know, if they want to share, that's fine. You can just tell me and keep it private. But this is a way that she's been able to live a more productive life, and she's able to control those thoughts and whatnot that we were talking about. Because, you know, as you know, Liz, I mean, suicide rates are going up now because of this pandemic and everything that's going on. And so I wish that everyone could do Agnihotra. And of course, you're a healthcare worker. I mean, I'm sure that I think suicide rates with doctors and nurses is high anyway.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is something that I wish all of our frontline workers could do, because it's a lot of stress going on. And so you all, please replay what she just said. I'm not telling her what to say. I'm not paying her to say this. Okay. And, you know, and she's such a peaceful and loving person when she's around me. When she first told me, Liz was like, oh yeah, I used to have these problems. I was like, really? So this is what people, I want you to hear this and look at this beautiful woman's face and see what this sister is talking about. So if you're suffering, your spouse, your children, all of this is something that you can do as a family. And I can attest the fact that they do this as a family, and everybody is so beautiful and glowing and loving, and just like what she's doing, you can do it too. This is something you can do in your home. You don't have to come here to Shanti Atlanta all the time. It's great if you come, but you got to take your behind home. Take your behind home, go trapping, and do this at home, because I can't babysit. And really, you're not to use any person, any job, anything as a crutch, okay? You're not supposed to have any attachment to these things. You have to do all this work for yourself. You know, I see a lot of times people are talking about, oh, this is what's happening with this celebrity, this person said this, and what they're saying over here. That's too much stuff. Let me worry about my own thoughts, my own words, my own actions. And this is a way for you to do it without having to involve so much medical. Like you said, you cut down on some of your medicines, and nothing's wrong with conventional medicine, but it doesn't a lot of times deal with the foundational things or alternative things that can help without you having to pop a pill. I mean, so, you know, for people that are underinsured or they have no insurance, this is something that you can do. Like I said, we use the copper pyramid. Like I said, we use the cow dung, we use the ghee, and we use the brown rice. And these are all natural things that you can use. So I will call this your natural depression kit. Okay, natural depression kit. Okay, because I'm missing a word, but you know what I'm saying. So this is your anti-depression kit.
There you go.
There you go.
You can take this at home. If you're at work and you can't do this at work, obviously, you go to the parking lot or go up to the park up the street, and this is something that you can do. Let me just put a little bit of ghee in here. Keep this burning a little longer. And so this is a tool that you can use. And anytime that you feel anxious or you feel like hopeless, of course, reach out the suicide hotline, or, you know, you can call me or some other people that can talk to you, but this is something that you can use for your entire family. Gosh, that's so powerful. What a powerful testimony. So let's move on to Joe. So Joe, what's your experience with Agnihotra? Let's hear what you have to say.
I mean, like my counterpart, I'm pretty much. I had a similar story. You know, I was pretty much all over the place. I needed to be centered, and I was pretty much searching for some type of meditation, some type of practice that was for me. You know what I mean? So I've been through a lot. I read a lot, searched a lot through different people, different avenues. But I think somebody told me before, like, truth is just so simple. You know what I mean? Like, so truth is just so simple. And some of these things were just so, I just felt like they were so difficult. But I mean, this was just so simple, and I gave it a try, and I mean, it just calmed me down. It made me focus more on what I needed to focus on, myself. You know what I mean? Like, it makes you just center yourself naturally, and it just slowed me down and made me more aware of self and all the energies around me. You know what I mean? And it was a great tool. Like, it's, I can't even explain it. It's just like a big hug if you needed one. You know what I mean?
I love that. You said a big hug.
Like, yeah, especially.
I see you down there. Hey, sister. So and you can unmute your microphone whenever you want to jump in, because we're just having conversation. So I like how you described that the Agnihotra is like a big hug, and it reminds me of, I don't know if you all remember the Care Bear cartoon. Does anybody remember that? Okay, remember the Care Bear? This is gonna sound crazy. Okay, but the Care Bears, they would join hands when they were faced with an obstacle. They would stare it in the face, and then their hearts would come out like this, and they'd be like, "Come on, Care Bears, let's," whatever they would say. But that's what we have to do. And so people think that is silly, but that cartoon was beautiful, because the kids be having those problems. Well, you can't help me with this. They say, yes, we can help you. Come on, Care Bears, hold hands. And then the hearts would come out, and the people would unfreeze, and they would turn from looking like monsters. But I think that is a really good way to explain what Agnihotra does. And like you said, you all were looking for looking at different meditations and whatnot. Like I said, this is a tool, and let me just express it to everyone that is viewing the replay. This is not about any religion or anything like that. Like what Joe said is very true. It's about the truth, and the truth can be placed in any religion, any philosophy, any group of people, any culture. That's how you know it's true. Love is love, no matter if you're an atheist, you're a Muslim, you're Christian, you're Jewish, whatever it is. And I talk and speak with many different people from many different faiths, and this is about being happy and being full of love. And so when you walk and live in the truth, that's when you have the peace, no matter what is happening, and it's chaotic. So specifically, people have been asking, well, how can I change what's happening? Turn on the TV, and all these things are happening, these protests, all this stuff. I don't like what the president is doing. I don't like this. I don't like that. People are really fussing. And I really like what Joe said. Let's just get back to the simple truth. So let's just start first with your thoughts. Okay, so before you say a word, you form a thought. Okay, and thoughts are energy. Your cells fire off energy to bring those thoughts. So once we can calm those thoughts down, calm it down, and you can do the fire and get calm, then you're going to be more mindful of your words. And so a lot of this that people are seeing on TV, a lot of this is people cussing each other out. Mm-hmm. They're upset. These different people are filming people doing crazy stuff, and then you're arguing with them. Okay, so these are your words, and these are energy. Why are you arguing? These are the people, whatever they're doing. And sometimes we do it too. We may not say and do the right thing. This is the time when the words of, hey, is everything okay? Is there something I can do to help? Or, hey, you know what? Maybe you're going through something, but I love you. I tell you what, if you say that to somebody that's foaming at the mouth, angry, if you say, hey, is everything okay? I love you. They're going to pause. They may say, what the heck are you talking about? But they will pause. They will pause. So that's when your words turn into actions. And guess what? That person may not stop totally doing what they're doing, but they will listen to those words, and it will affect their actions. You see? And that is the only way I know how to change all these things that we're seeing. If you can do this yourself, then you can affect this into other people. And it is as simple as that, because we've seen, like, and I think my daughter was asking when she was growing up with Mom, how did the Holocaust continue? I don't understand no one stepped up and said, hey, this is, I said, yeah, people did, and people got killed, but you have to change a nation, you have to change the individual. Mm-hmm. You have to change the individual, and the first individual that you change is yourself. And so whenever you get angry, you all can just light a Agnihotra fire, or any of the Homa fire that we do in between sunrise and sunset. And this is how you can bring yourself away from getting mad, because I get mad too. Okay, I'm always happy, whatever, but if I get ticked off, I say, whoo, let me get to some fire. Let me sit down, whatever. Or if I can't light a fire, I'm in my car, I'll pull to the side and just sit still, and I'll do some deep breathing, okay, just to get that out of my system. So we all have to have tools in our toolkits in which to deal with all these things, because it's hard. It's hard for me. It's hard for everybody. It's a day-to-day, minute-to-minute thing just to be in love. Okay, so don't think it's easy. No, it's just that we have tools that we have to teach other people in which to stay in peace and love. And it's not gonna help where we're fighting, where you're this group and you're Christian, you're not black and you're not white, you don't do this, and who cares? We are all human beings, and we're supposed to be here full of love to help each and everyone. So I want to jump in here, sister. I know you jumped in to the conversation late, but do you have any questions? I know that we probably didn't talk long enough at the Dr. Chris at the Ayurvedic Health Fair, but I wanted to know if you had any questions for me. Ask me anything, because we haven't talked in a while. And ask me anything about any topic, because that's what I want to do, just to have Q&A so people can just have more personal connection with getting answers to stuff. Do you have any questions about anything?
No, ma'am. At this time, I don't have any questions. Well, I guess I do. Yeah. Is everything that you're doing currently, is it just virtual?
Oh, no. I'm doing, with social distancing, I'm doing stuff here, here in Conyers at Shanti, Atlanta. So like the breathing, and I'm going to go over a few breathing exercises before we get done. I have healthy eating classes. I have a garden set up now here too, as well. So we have breathing. We have some of the private teachings that we teach here at Shanti, Atlanta. We have classes on various aspects of Ayurveda, because Agnihotra is part of Ayurveda, and it's an ancient way that shows you how to live, that deals with how to deal with your body. Like I said before, how you think, what you do, even what you do for a living. So a lot of people don't think, well, what does that have to do with Ayurveda? But in ancient Ayurvedic teachings, you can't have like one thought, one word, then a job that's all crazy. That's not going to work. Everything has to be, in sync. So I do have various private classes. So if you would like to attend, you can email me, or we can talk offline. But yeah, I am doing private one-on-one, because a lot of people are asking you all about the breathing. And so like the last Zoom talk, I did a little bit of a demonstration, but and Liz and I were talking about this before. Liz is a nurse, as you heard us talking about, but a lot of people don't realize that the deep breathing, not the regular breathing that we do, it can clear a lot of things. It can clear your head. It can take away pain. It can help with chronic conditions. I know people that have had advanced cancers, they use this along with other methods, to actually clear cancer and stuff. So I think it's so very important that we teach these things, especially to our people. And you hear me talk about this all the time, y'all, about people that are low income. Because everybody's not going to get on the Zoom talk with the Agnihotra lady. Everybody's not going to have access to a Liz or a Joe. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's not going to have access to your radio show, sister. So I've always want to get this information out to the low income people, because that's the people that suffer the most. You know what I'm saying? They have more pollution in the neighborhoods. They have worse food systems. One crappy grocery store, they're not necessarily eating clean. This is why I'm doing this. So this video can be shared, and somebody might say, oh my gosh, Liz is up here talking. What did she say? What happened? Now, what are you talking about? And I want people to question. And then if they want to come by, they can come by. That's really what I want to do. And I know that you, Sister Muhammad, you're all about community and community building. This is what I want to do. So yeah, if you want to stop by, you're welcome anytime.
Yeah, yes. The breathing is important to me. I started with this. There's a form of meditation that I started with, but for some reason, I don't know, I didn't stick with the breathing part. So I went over to, and I know that's essential. That is not just breathing properly, learning to breathe properly again, how deep breathing, how it elevates and inspires and heals. So yes, so I really, that piece is important to me. Also, the healing piece that's involved, that's key too, especially because I've you know, like I was sharing with you previously, you may not remember, which is fine. We you know, I've been through, or still going through a divorce, and so
I remember.
this is okay. Yes, ma'am. And so I want to you know, myself and my children, I believe that the Ayurveda healing and the Agnihotra is the best healing, or one of the best, for, you know, towards myself and my children's healing.
Oh, they would enjoy it. As a matter of fact, Joe, you want to share with her what you were telling me about? He has a daughter that's, what, is she 5 or 6?
She's 7.
Oh, I'm sorry, she's 7. So tell her what you were telling me, whatever you feel comfortable in sharing about how it affected, you know, your daughter and, you know, and that home, whatever you feel comfortable with sharing with sister here.
Okay, me just doing the Agnihotra, like I said, it calmed me down, and as my daughter saw me doing it, she just would come into the room, and I mean, it just calmed her down. I mean, she has plenty of energy. I mean, she probably would be labeled, you know, what is it, ADHD, ADD, whatever, you know. So, I mean, she's a really high energy child. And I mean, she's a little bit everywhere. I mean, that's like most children out here. I mean, it's information age, everything's fast. So, I mean, that's how they want it. That's how their brain works. But it makes her slow down. I can see like the way she organizes her thoughts. I was using Agnihotra because she was rejecting me because I was pushing more schooling on her, like doing reading and math and stuff they wasn't doing in school, before school. So it helped me get that to her. She's calmed down a lot more. And I mean, it's just, I don't know. I guess I would say it's just it centered her. It centers, like I do it sometimes, like if I know my family coming over, and that's a whole lot of different energies, you know what I mean? But I set the mood. It's like it set the tone. It's like a sage nuclear bomb, you know what I mean? like you know what I mean? So that's my thing. And I mean, that's why I really liked Agnihotra. I was like, in the beginning, I was really I was intimidated by the mantra. But once they told me, like, you'll get it, basically. And once you know what I'm saying, it's all about what's in your heart and you're trying to pronounce it. And, like, I've always felt that. So, I mean, from day one, doing it with Agnihotra lady, right there at Shanti Villa. I mean, Liz's mother came there, and I mean, she was just so much in bliss, and she didn't realize, like, how much stress she got on her. She just laid down. And she got back up, and I'm looking at her like, I never seen this lady look like that. She just like she was high or something. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, what's wrong? But I mean, it does. All I can say is I just tell people, I'm like, man, just watch. Just see this is what I do. Try it. I mean, it's young, rice, and ghee. Apple pyramid.
So yeah, so anyone that's just joining in and listening, you know, we're talking about how this affects the entire family. And so whether you're going through a divorce, like what sister here was talking about, or any sort of thing, it's something that the entire family can do together to heal, okay, and get back to your normal state of tranquility. So that's what we're talking about. So, you know, if you're going through a divorce, like I talked before about people saying, oh, hey, I feel suicidal, whatever. This is the thing that is your whole family, the neighborhood and community. You don't have to be suffering like this. There's really no need. And the thing is that for our children, you know, they do look at what we do, okay? So Agnihotra is a way to transform yourself. And the best way to teach our children is how they see how you cope, how we cope with all these different things, how we're dealing with the crazy ex-husband or the crazy co-worker or whatever it is, and not fussing with the crazy great grandma or whatever it is. It's always some craziness there. And Agnihotra, I've seen children sit in front of the fire, and I've been told that they're violent, autistic children or whatever. And then, you know, the parent would say to me, well, what happened? Well, nothing happened. You're sitting here and everybody is calm, and you're not blaming that one person when that child has the problem. No, the family is dealing with the issue. So don't ever feel it, everyone, that it's your problem. When you're with the right group of people, it's a community problem or issue. We'll call it challenge, and you can deal with it. So, and that's how I like to always address things like this. When people come to me and tell me, well, the husband or the wife or the whatever, I always say, look to yourself first. Whenever there's a problem right here, I look here first, because that's the only way I know how to solve it. So even if I think I'm doing something proper, self-reflection, I'll go in here. What did I say? What did I think? What did I do? You know what I'm saying? And so I always start here first, and then all this here, it always calms down. I know that sounds simple, but like Joe said earlier, that's the truth. And so, and that's why I say, as opposed to how to solve these nations' issues, it starts here. So how can I become better?
I always have to look in and see what part that I play in something, you know, and I think if you do look deep enough, you can always see whether it's a good situation or a bad situation, you can always see how you contributed to it. And for me, that helps me get over a lot of anger, a lot of resentment, because I used to always think it's them and what they did to me. And then I had to stop and say, okay, well, what part did I play in that? Even if it comes down to admitting to myself that I allowed myself to be used because I'm people pleasing. You know what I mean? I have to look at myself and see, what did I do to get this result that has come about in my life?
Oh yeah, and that's the difficult thing, that we want to always blame somebody else. I mean, even in the most horrible things, there's always a lesson there, and I always look for that lesson. So something bad may really happen, but then, just for instance, like I think someone in George Floyd's family even said, well, if this hadn't happened, then all of this wouldn't be happening for people to really see that there's a problem. I said, whoa, that was deep. I think the daughter said that, maybe. I believe if I'm not mistaken, but that's deep, and that's what you have to do, is to look, and we always say, look to the right and not to the left. Where is the lesson that I can learn, as opposed to keeping commotion going and always blaming somebody else? So, like I said, anybody that's going through any kind of conflict, the Agnihotra is a way to calm down and get the mind right. And we got, I think, maybe one more minute, and we may get extended to 8 o'clock because this Zoom is supposed to cut off at 7:40, but they haven't given me indication. So if it does, that's what happened. But let me just continue. I think they're going to extend time again because it's 7:39. They haven't told me it's about to shut down. But I think, so let's talk about some of the science behind Agnihotra. So we're thinking, and we're constantly making new cells. And so we do know now that with negative thinking, you actually poison your body. And Liz, you can attest to this. So they now know that there's a chemical that you secrete throughout your body when you're negative, and especially if you're stressed out, negative all the time. That's a scientific fact. Okay, so that leads to high blood pressure. Okay, that leads to you overeating. That leads to all sorts of things. And so you have to not poison yourself. And so people don't realize that literally when you're yelling and angry and this and that, you basically might as well just drink you some little arsenic, arsenic soup, get you some crackers, eat that, or some arsenic Kool-Aid. You might as well just drink that, because that's what you're doing. You're poisoning yourself. And my daughter said, Mom, that sounds so silly, but no, it's true. It really is true. So what you want to do is be drinking in the nourishing broth of love, the nourishing chamomile tea of love and tranquility and all of that. That's what you want to be doing. And so when you do Agnihotra, there are 5 chemicals. There's a reaction that come out. You get, let me make sure I'm pronouncing them correctly, but you got butyrolactone, acetylene, formaldehyde, propylene oxide, and ethylene oxide. Those are the 5 gases that come about from Agnihotra. And when these things enter into your nostrils, into your skin, then you have another chemical reaction that's happening. You basically, we call it DNA repair. You're repairing your cells, okay? You have that oxidation that's coming around from stress. So then, you have negative ions, positive ions, everything is balanced now. So that enters there, and there's, like I said, this effect that happens in your body, and you slow the oxidation process in your body. So I'm saying all this, so some people say, this don't sound scientific. You got this nurse on here talking about this. This don't sound scientific. Boom, now you got your science, okay? So, and if you want to test it, and I think on Sister Muhammad's show, we had a medical doctor that called in. I think it was an osteopathic physician that called in, and I even said, test yourself, do Agnihotra, do your resting, pulse, test it afterwards. And they have studies on this, not in the US, but we have a few studies, but more of them in other countries where they can see, wait a minute, the pulse is different, the respiration, the breathing, everything is different. So for all you people that are medical, they're looking at this saying, what is she talking about? What's Liz talking about? Go test yourself. Don't believe anything that we're saying. Go ahead and you do your own experiment on yourself. And then you can see, because I think, Liz, you even said, how come we don't have this you would love to have this in the hospitals.
Yeah.
Places. I mean, in India, they do. They have Agnihotra pyramid there in the room, for, along with you getting your regular, whatever medical thing. So, I mean, I remember you were talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
Should be for the hospices, the nursing homes, you know what I'm saying, everywhere everywhere.
So that's true.
Everywhere.
Mm-hmm. And Sister Muhammad, were you was it you or the other sister was with you was talking about I think you all live in Lithonia? Can you hear me, sister? Okay, I think she may be on the phone.
Yeah.
But they were talking about at the Ayurvedic fair that they wanted to see about bringing it into Lithonia, because Lithonia is actually not even a food desert. It's considered a food swamp because they only have one grocery store, and all the food is horrible. And I think I had told y'all before, we had set up a garden there. This is several years ago, before I was doing right before I started doing Agnihotra, and they don't have the garden there anymore. But there's a very food insecure place, and their poverty rate is higher than the national average poverty rate. They have more people that are disabled there. So what better way to heal people if you can have community Agnihotra? And we were there with the garden. We used to do Agnihotra there while we worked in the garden every day. We got the entire community involved. And unfortunately, once we left, then they stopped doing it. And that's why I was saying you can't have a crutch. You got to go home. I can't be there all the time. I can show you how to do it so you can heal your own home and community, but this is what we have to have. And Sister Muhammad was talking about this at the thing. I think her other sister that was with her, she was they were talking about doing this for the entire community. And that's really what we want to do, because like I said, how many people people that need to see this, they're not going to come into a Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's almost like I want to go and do a drive-by in the hood you know, leaning out the window like Snoop Dogg,
Yeah, yeah.
drop a pyramid.
Yeah, yeah. Look at this smoke.
This lady. Now, listen, I want to do a drive-by, but it's going to be a good drive-by though.
I think that's in order though. I think it's because I mean it's a show more than tell. I mean, to me that's what it was. I mean, because I was to that point anyway. I need the information. Let's see. Show me. Okay. There's something to this. You know what I mean? Like, okay, yeah, let's do this. And I mean, even at the time when Liz and I got introduced to this, we were, I mean, everything was shaky. You know what I mean? Our relationship wasn't quite shaky, but it could have been, you know what I mean? Because everything around us was shaky. We were both on the road. We're working on the road. We took on new jobs out of town. You know what I mean? We're taking on new ventures.
Oh, that's right. Y'all both working out of town. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? We were going to Atlanta, to New Orleans, to
North Carolina.
We going we just, man, yeah, we was doing a whole lot. And I mean, I think if it wasn't for Agnihotra, like keep us just solid, you know what I mean? Wherever, you know, we'll pull over the side of the road, pull over, you know, a nice place, maybe not so nice place, but I mean, it'll get you just sensitive. I mean, and it takes, and I mean, unless you do a real big burn, maybe, I mean, it's like 10, 15 minutes. And I mean, you know, blissful smoke afterwards. I mean, so like, it's, I don't know, it's great. I mean, and like I say, it's a show. I think it's more of a show. I think it's in order for us to go somewhere and demonstrate, you know what I mean? Maybe something toxic, you know what I'm saying? Something toxic that needs a little bit of balancing. So we need to go in these different communities and light it up.
I know.
Light it up.
So anyone that is watching, I'm the Agnihotra lady, and we're talking about Agnihotra. And if you are interested in introducing Agnihotra to your community, please email me, call me, okay, so I can help you get set up, because this is about everybody, you know. We're not trying to keep this information to ourselves. We're trying to tell as many people as possible, because it's very important, especially in these challenging times. So I will come out personally and help you set this up. I can't stay there forever now. I can stay there for a few days, okay, and help you to set this up. And let me just say this, if you don't have a lot of money, okay, you all can get 4 or 5 people in your community, your neighborhood, to buy a pyramid, okay? If you have money to get your nails done, a haircut, all these things, you can go do other frivolous things. Put your money together to buy a pyramid. You don't have to buy it from me, okay? Buy it from anywhere, get you some cow dung, and get started. And you can take turns with your neighbors doing this, okay? So this is something, it would be great to do it every day, but I know people have to work, but maybe you can take turns in the morning or the evening time doing this, because I'm telling you, you're hearing from people today that are telling you the benefit is made for themselves, dealing with family issues, personal issues. This is so important, and I'm glad to be able to offer this information. And none of us here are here about money. This is about money. This is about how we can build community, how we can be happy and healthy and have children that are happy, stronger relationships, less pollution, less crime. Because like I said, I've said many times, if you can clear your mind, clear the pollution, clear your mind, that helps a lot of these toxic thoughts. Because the air is toxic and you're breathing in this harmful air. No wonder you running around all cray-cray like an angry bird.
Yeah.
Okay? So we got to clear the pollution, especially from these low-income neighborhoods where they dump so much stuff in these neighborhoods, and no one is being an advocate for the people in the at-risk communities. So please reach out. And I'll probably get together some people, maybe Liz and Joe, maybe you could come based on, I know your schedule is busy, but I want you to see that any person can do this. Any ordinary person, no matter how busy you are, no matter what your situation, everyone can do Agnihotra. We can affect the change. And I just want to thank everyone for tuning in again today. And as we close, I really appreciate everyone for joining. Thank you, Liz, Joe, and Sister Muhammad for joining us. And once again, thanks everyone for joining the Agnihotra Lady. I'll be doing a weekly show every Saturday from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And I just want to stress that whatever questions you have, any topic, I don't care, even if you don't want to put your face on camera, just, you can do it and unenable your picture, ask me any questions, and I'll be doing this every week. And so any further questions, email me or call me, and I want you to have a very, very blessed day, or evening rather.